To be unbothered, truly unshakable. Even when someone tries to wound you, there's a rare power you can learn. It looks like this: staying calm when others blow up, holding your tongue while others argue, and stepping away when someone is desperate to drag you in. You've felt that pull before, the flare of frustration when you're disrespected, misread, gossiped about, or lured into chaos. It stings because you're human. Instinct says, fight back, explain, defend, prove you're right. Here's the hard truth. The moment you let someone bait you into an emotional trap, they've already won. The real fight isn't you versus them. It's you versus your reaction. The second your voice rises and your peace drops, you've handed over something priceless: control of your state of mind. This episode from Living Stoic is about taking that control back, not by going numb or pretending nothing hurts, but by becoming emotionally untouchable. It's learning to move through a world of noise and insults like a mountain that doesn't budge. You don't need to manage other people. You need to master one thing: your inner response. Do that, and no one can run your mind again. 1. You react because your ego is insecure. Heal that first. We love to blame the outside world for our anger. They made me mad. I only snapped because they provoked me. But if you look closely, you'll see something deeper. Most reactions are alarms triggered by old insecurities, unhealed wounds you'd rather not face. Think about the last comment that really got under your skin about your looks, your smarts, your progress. If you know it's false, it slides off. But if it hits a nerve you secretly fear is true, your chest tightens, your face heats, and your mind races to defend. That's the ego speaking, not arrogance, but the fragile part of you always seeking safety and approval. It dreads exposure and humiliation, so it leaps up to protect itself. The solution isn't thicker armor or fake indifference. It's healing. Ask hard questions. Why did that comment trigger me? What insecurity did it bump? Maybe you were told you weren't enough, smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough, and that echo still lives inside you. Until you pull those roots, weeds of anger will keep sprouting. Healing starts with awareness. Next time you feel provoked, pause. Observe, don't react. Name the sting, then look beneath it. What am I really afraid of? This isn't weakness. It's your first step toward resilience. Picture your insecurities as old wounds under flimsy bandages. Every insult brushes against them. When you finally clean and treat them, touch no longer hurts. That's emotional healing. Mend the wound, and provokers lose their leverage. The calm people you admire aren't emotionless. They've done their inner work. They know their soft spots and have made peace with them. Their confidence comes from acceptance, not perfection. Because they're steady inside, outside chaos can't shatter them. You can reach that level. Every trigger is a signal pointing to where you need care. Don't ignore it. Don't blame. Thank the moment for showing you the work, then do it. Journal honestly, speak openly, or seek wise guidance. When your foundation is strong, nothing they say can shake it. You'll feel compassion where anger used to live. You'll see other people's pain peeking through their jabs. And instead of reacting, you'll stay steady and free. Master your inner world first, and watch how naturally the rest follows. 2. Their words reveal them, not you. When someone throws cruel or judgmental words your way, the instinct is to absorb them, to ask, is this true? Did I do something wrong? But here's the mental shift that changes everything. What people say about you is a reflection of their inner state, not yours. Think about the person who constantly criticizes, mocks, or finds fault. They aren't describing you. They're revealing the storms within themselves, their insecurity, jealousy, frustration. A peaceful, secure person doesn't attack others. They don't need to. Only those battling inner chaos projected outward as judgment. Yet we often take these words like emotional poison, replaying them, analyzing them, letting them shape how we see ourselves. But ask yourself, if someone handed you a glass of poison, would you drink it? Then why swallow emotional toxins through someone else's words? Every insult tells you more about the speaker than the target. When someone attacks your worth, they expose their fear of inadequacy. When they mock your ambition, They're revealing regret for dreams they abandoned. When they dismiss your progress, it's because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. The moment you understand this, their words lose power. They become background noise. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In other words, when you're insulted, don't match the energy. Don't reflect their bitterness. Refuse to let their emotional turbulence dictate your peace. That's not weakness, that's mastery. This shift in perception turns you from a victim into an observer of human behavior. You begin to see insults as confessions, criticism as projection, and cruelty as disguised pain. Their anger becomes transparent. Their judgment becomes revealing. Their malice becomes a cry for help they don't know how to voice. So next time someone says something hurtful, pause. Take a breath. Silently remind yourself. Their words say nothing about me. They reveal everything about them. Watch how fast your anger melts. You move from wounded to centered, from reactive to wise. This is the essence of Stoicism, emotional clarity that lets you stand untouched in a storm of opinions. Because their negativity was never about you. It never will be. Guard that clarity fiercely. It's your shield, your strength, your peace. 3. Silence is the weapon of the powerful. Most people mistake silence for weakness, as if saying nothing means you've surrendered. But silence, when chosen consciously, is one of the most powerful responses in existence. It's not the absence of power, it's the expression of it. Think about a moment when someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they insulted you in public, questioned your character, or twisted your words to make you look small. The urge to defend yourself flares up immediately. You want to correct them, prove your worth, have the last word. But when you stay silent, everything changes. Your calm confuses them. They expected noise, anger, excuses, justification, but you offer none. Their words hang in the air like arrows that never land. Silence takes away their weapon because it denies them what they crave most, your reaction. It forces them to face the emptiness of their own behavior. Your stillness becomes a mirror reflecting their chaos back at them. Silence also reclaims control. The moment you lose your temper, you hand them authority over your emotions. But when you choose stillness, you send a message louder than words. You don't have that kind of power over me. Your restraint becomes dominance. Calm, poised, and untouchable. But here's the key. True silence isn't the kind you force through gritted teeth. That's suppression, not mastery. The silence that commands respect is born from understanding, from knowing that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every fool deserves an audience. Seneca once wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." It's the kind of wisdom that comes from experience, from realizing that trying to defend yourself to people determined to misunderstand you is wasted energy. Marcus Aurelius echoed this truth. When provoked, observe, detach, and remain silent. Silence takes strength. The ego hates it because the ego feeds on recognition and validation. Choosing quiet means starving that need. That's why mastering silence is mastering the ego itself. Here's how you train it. Next time someone pushes your buttons, don't react. Pause. Take a breath. Watch what happens. The moment you hold your peace, you'll feel the balance shift. Their control over you vanishes. You'll notice your heartbeat slowing, your clarity returning, your dignity intact. Silence doesn't mean you're ignoring the truth. It means you value your inner calm more than proving a point. It's what great leaders, thinkers, and resilient souls throughout history have practiced. Nelson Mandela understood this deeply. After decades in prison, he said, "We learned to use silence as a weapon." He wasn't defeated. He was disciplined. In your own life, silence can protect everything that matters. Gossip fades when you don't feed it. Insults die when you don't reply. Lies collapse when you don't defend against them. At first, silence feels strange, even uncomfortable. But as you practice, it becomes your shield. Your stillness will speak louder than any argument ever could. Remember, your peace, your composure, and your dignity are worth more than winning a conversation. Choose silence not out of fear, but out of strength. Because sometimes the loudest message you'll ever send is the one you deliver without saying a single word. 4. You don't owe anyone an explanation. We waste so much of our peace trying to justify ourselves, explaining our choices, our dreams, even our silence, to people who have already decided what to think. It's like standing on trial every day, pleading your case before judges who are never going to understand you. But here's a truth most never learn. You don't owe anyone an explanation for living your life your way. You don't owe anyone a defense for your goals, your timing, your values, or your priorities. The need to constantly explain yourself isn't maturity. It's hidden insecurity. It's that quiet voice inside whispering, if they don't understand me, maybe I'm wrong. Every time you try to prove your worth to someone unwilling to see it, you hand them a piece of your peace. You drain your strength bit by bit, chasing approval that will never come. Stop. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, if someone speaks ill of you, do not defend yourself. Simply say, he was unaware of my other faults, or he would not have mentioned only these. That's not arrogance. It's emotional freedom. It's the understanding that other people's opinions are none of your business. People committed to misunderstanding you will twist any explanation you give. People who love and respect you don't need one. So why waste your breath trying to convince those who never listen? The more you explain, the more you lose control of your own narrative. Next time someone questions your choices, don't scramble for justifications. Pause, smile if you must, and simply say, thank you for sharing your perspective. Then stop there. Silence the urge to explain. Watch how the weight instantly lifts from your chest. This isn't pride, it's peace. Because when you stop defending yourself, you stop giving strangers permission to disturb your spirit. You realize your energy belongs to your growth, not their approval. People will misunderstand you. Let them. People will criticize you. Let them. You don't need to correct every wrong impression or fight every false assumption. The people meant for you will know your truth without explanation. At the end of your life, you won't regret being misunderstood. You'll regret all the energy you spend trying to make others understand. So guard your peace. Speak less, move intentionally, and live in a way that your calm speaks louder than your words ever could. Never forget, you owe no one your justification. You owe yourself your serenity. 5. Accept that you will be misunderstood. That's freedom. One of the hardest truths to swallow is this. No matter how kind, careful, or honest you are, people will still misunderstand you. Some will misread your silence as arrogance. Others will mistake your confidence for pride. Even your goodness will be questioned by those too cynical to believe in sincerity. And that's okay. You cannot control perception. You can only control intention. The moment you truly accept that, you become free. Most people exhaust themselves trying to correct rumors, clarify motives, or rewrite stories told about them. But once a person has decided how they see you, logic rarely changes it. They don't want your truth. They want their version of it. Trying to fix that is like trying to hold back the tide with your hands. You end up drained and disappointed. Stoicism teaches a higher path. Release the need to be understood. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be content to seem what you really are." That's the essence of peace. When your actions are guided by integrity, you can rest because you know time will reveal what words never could. The truth doesn't need defenders. It just needs patience. Here's what happens when you accept being misunderstood. You stop performing. You stop editing yourself to fit people's comfort zones. You stop explaining your dreams to small minds that only measure life by fear. You start living honestly, without permission, without disguise. There's a quiet kind of power in that. It's the power of someone who knows their own heart and doesn't flinch when others don't see it. You realize that understanding isn't owed to you. It's earned through shared experience and genuine connection, and not everyone is meant to walk that close to you. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misread you. None of it changes who you are. What matters is that you stay aligned with your values, your peace, your principles, your purpose. When you stop chasing understanding, you start attracting peace. You'll notice that the right people, those who see clearly, find you without noise, while the wrong ones drift away naturally. That's not loss. That's clarity. Freedom begins when you no longer need to be seen in a certain light. It's when you realize that being misunderstood is part of the price of authenticity. And that price is small compared to the peace of being real. So walk calmly through the noise. Smile at the whispers. Let your life, not your defense, speak for you. Because in the end, it's not who they think you are that defines you. It's who you choose to be when no one's watching. 6. Reclaiming emotional power. How to stay centered when provoked. When someone provokes you, cuts you off mid-sentence, disrespects you publicly, or twists your words, it's easy to feel that surge of heat in your chest. The body tightens. The mind floods with comebacks. The ego screams, "Don't let them get away with that." But pause for a moment. Notice what's really happening. You're standing at the intersection of two paths. One leads to reaction, the other to mastery. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you reclaim your emotional power. Emotional power isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It's the quiet, grounded state that refuses to hand control of your inner weather to someone else's storm. When you can stay centered while others lose balance, you've already won. Here's how to practice it in real life. A. Detach before you respond. When you feel the emotion rise, don't suppress it. Observe it. Take one full breath before speaking. That breath is your gap between impulse and intention. It's the pause that turns a reaction into a response. The more you train this pause, the more control you gain. B. Lower your voice instead of raising it. Rage feeds on noise. When someone yells, lower your tone. When they attack, speak softly or not at all. It disarms aggression faster than any argument ever could. Calmness isn't submission, it's strategy. C. Focus on what you can control. You can't dictate how others behave, but you can control how you show up. You decide what energy you carry, what stories you believe, and whether you stay composed or collapse. That's your domain. Guard fiercely. D. Reframe provocation as a test. Every insult is an exam of your emotional discipline. The more someone tries to drag you down, the more life is giving you a chance to rise. Let every trigger remind you, this is practice. That simple mindset turns frustration into fuel. E. Exit with grace when peace isn't possible. Not every confrontation deserves your participation. Sometimes the wisest move is to walk away, not in defeat, but in strength. Stoics called it apatheia, freedom from destructive emotions. When the other person finally sees they can't move you, the game ends. Reclaiming emotional power doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop being ruled by what you feel. You acknowledge anger, disappointment, even pain, but you no longer let them steer the wheel. You respond from principle, not impulse. That's what separates the reactive from the resilient, the impulsive from the powerful. People who provoke you are not your enemies. They are your trainers. They test the edges of your calm so you can strengthen it. In time, you'll notice something remarkable. Situations that once set you on fire barely move you anymore. You'll listen without reacting, observe without absorbing, and walk away without resentment. That's emotional mastery. When you reach that level, peace stops being something you chase. It becomes something you carry. And no one, no insult, no chaos can take it from you again. 7. Transcend the need to win every battle. There's a deep urge inside all of us to be right, to have the last word, to correct lies, to prove our strength. It's the ego's favorite addiction, victory. But chasing victory in every interaction doesn't make you powerful. It makes you restless. Because every time you in a petty argument, you lose a little peace. Not every battle is worth fighting. In fact, most aren't. Life constantly tempts you with invitations to conflict, petty remarks, online debates, people who misquote you just to spark a reaction. The question is not, can I win this? But, is this even worth my energy? The Stoics had a phrase, choose what deserves your fire. It means knowing where your strength is best spent. Some arguments are traps designed to drain you. Some victories cost more than they're worth. A wise person knows when to fight and when to walk away, not out of fear, but out of focus. Think of it this way. Every argument you enter becomes a transaction. You spend emotional energy, mental clarity, and time you'll never get back. So before you engage, ask yourself, what's the return? If it doesn't lead to growth, peace, or truth, it's a bad investment. Winning the wrong battle feels good for 5 minutes and heavy for 5 days. You replay the conversation, dissect every word, and realize too late that it was never about truth. It was about ego. The stronger version of you no longer needs that satisfaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." True strength isn't about proving others wrong. It's about staying unmoved when others try to prove you wrong. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to win, you start to rise above the fight. You become untouchable because your self-worth no longer depends on someone else's surrender. You're not in competition, you're in control. Sometimes the greatest victory is silence. Sometimes it's smiling and walking away. Sometimes it's saying, "You might be right," and meaning it, not sarcastically, but peacefully, because your validation no longer comes from being understood. It comes from being free. Remember, the higher you climb in emotional maturity, the fewer battles you need to fight. You'll begin to see that people arguing loudly are often wrestling with themselves. You let them have their noise while you keep your stillness. Winning every battle makes you tired, but mastering yourself makes you timeless. That's the Stoic's path, not conquering others, but conquering the impulse to always need to. When you no longer seek to win, you've already won where it matters most, within. 8. Emotional detachment, the art of remaining unmoved. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood. People hear it and think it means apathy, being cold, distant, or unfeeling. But that's not detachment. True detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop letting your peace depend on outcomes or other people's behavior. It's the quiet confidence of knowing, whatever happens, I will remain grounded. Emotional detachment is the skill of observing your feelings without drowning in them. It's standing in the middle of chaos and saying, "I see the storm, but I am not the storm." The Stoics called this ataraxia, unshakable calm. It's not the absence of emotion, but the presence of control. Here's what emotional detachment looks like in practice. A. You stop personalizing everything. When someone snaps at you, you don't immediately assume it's about you. You understand they might be projecting their frustration or fear. You stop taking others' emotions as a reflection of your worth. B. You allow emotions, but you don't obey them. You can feel anger without acting on it, sadness without sinking in it, joy without clinging to it. You experience emotions fully but hold them lightly, like clouds passing across the sky. C. You release attachment to outcomes. You do your best, but you don't crumble if things don't go your way. You understand that control ends where your effort ends. The rest belongs to fate, time, or the universe, whatever name you give it. D. You protect your energy like it's sacred. You stop explaining yourself to those determined to misunderstand you. You stop chasing closure from people who prefer confusion. You stop letting temporary emotions lead to permanent decisions. This doesn't make you numb. It makes you free. You'll start noticing that the more detached you are, the more clearly you see. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop fearing loss because you realize that nothing external can take away what truly matters, your inner stability. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Emotional detachment gives you that control. It's the art of choosing your response instead of being dragged by impulses. When you master detachment, life stops being a roller coaster of highs and lows. You begin to live from your center. Insults lose sting, praise loses control over you, and situations that once shook you barely ripple your calm. The beauty of detachment is this. You become untouchable without becoming unreachable. You can love deeply, work passionately, and care sincerely, but from a place of balance, not desperation. You give without expecting, you act without needing, and you stay whole regardless of what comes or goes. To remain unmoved is not to be empty, it's to be anchored. Your emotions still exist, but they serve you instead of rule you. That's not indifference, that's freedom. 9. Forgive, but don't reopen the door. Forgiveness doesn't mean returning to what broke you. It means freeing yourself from the weight of bitterness while keeping your boundaries intact. The world often confuses forgiveness with reconciliation, but they are not the same. One is about peace. The other is about access. You can forgive someone fully and still never let them close again. You can wish them well and still walk away. That isn't coldness, it's wisdom. Because forgiveness is for you, not them. It's the act of cutting the invisible cord that keeps you tied to pain. When you hold on to resentment, you're not punishing the offender. You're poisoning yourself slowly. Every replayed memory, every imaginary argument in your mind keeps you stuck in their energy. But when you forgive, you release that hold. You reclaim your mental space and emotional clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." That's the spirit of forgiveness, refusing to mirror the cruelty that hurt you. You rise above it, not to prove you're better, but because your peace is more important than your pride. But forgiveness doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It doesn't mean trusting someone who betrayed you or giving second chances to those who've shown no change. Forgiveness without boundaries invites repeat harm. So forgive, but learn. Release the bitterness, but keep the wisdom. When you forgive, you break the emotional chain linking you to the past. When you close the door, you prevent it from reopening and pulling you back into old chaos. You're not being heartless, you're being healed. Here's how you know you've truly forgiven. You can remember without the old sting. You no longer wish them pain, you just wish them distance. You no longer need an apology. You've already given yourself closure. Forgiveness is a quiet act of self-respect. It's you saying, "I refuse to carry this anymore." It's letting go of what you can't change and focusing your energy on what you can, your future. And when they try to come back with words that sound softer, remember, growth is measured by consistent action, not empty remorse. You've worked too hard for your peace to trade it for temporary comfort. So yes, forgive. Wish them well, but don't reopen the door. The lesson was already delivered. Your healing doesn't need a sequel. Walk away lighter, freer, and wiser. Because sometimes closure isn't about what you say to them. It's about what you finally decide within yourself. This ends here. I'm free. 10. Peace is the final power. After all the lessons, all the battles, all the moments you had to bite your tongue and walk away, there comes a point where you realize that peace isn't just a feeling. It's a form of power. The highest one. You see, most people chase control over others, over opinions, over outcomes. But peace means you've stopped needing control to feel safe. You no longer bend to chaos or let emotions dictate your direction. You've built something stronger, an inner stillness that nothing external can touch. Peace doesn't mean your life is quiet. It means your mind is. You could be surrounded by noise, yet untouched by it. You could be in conflict, yet unmoved. That's when you understand true strength. It's not about force, but composure. It's not in domination, but discipline. There's a kind of person who walks through the world differently. They don't react to insults. They don't chase validation. They don't need to prove anything. People mistake their calm for indifference, but it's not that. They've simply mastered the art of non-reaction. They've learned that not every energy deserves engagement. That's who you're becoming. Every time you choose peace over proving, restraint over rage, silence over noise, you evolve. You rise above the level of those who live enslaved by impulse. You stop being easily read, easily provoked, easily broken. You become grounded, deliberate, untouchable. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Peace is that mastery. It's when your emotions serve your purpose, not sabotage it. When you can see clearly even in the middle of tension. When your calm starts to unsettle the ones who live off chaos. You'll notice something strange the deeper you walk this path. The quieter you become, the more powerful your presence feels. People sense it. They may not understand it, but they feel it. A still energy that doesn't need a shout to be felt. And that's the final stage of emotional mastery. You've healed what used to trigger you. You've stopped needing to explain yourself. You've forgiven, detached, and learned to let go. You no longer live reacting, you live responding. You no longer chase validation. You embody peace. Your strength no longer shows in arguments won, but in calm maintained, in patience held, in silence chosen. Because in the end, peace is not the reward, it's the weapon. It's how you protect your energy, your growth, your sanity, and your future. And when you reach that point, you'll look back and realize nothing outside of you ever had the power you thought it did. It was always within you. It always will be. So protect it, guard it, live from it, because peace is the final power. Thanks for watching. Do well to subscribe.